I know, I know. You didn't see this coming, right? Hello and welcome to the RoboTalk show. I'm your host Aditya, and this is the second episode of the show. This episode is basically for those who are really intrigued and fascinated by drones. So we have Amogh Bhaiya from Flytbase. Without any delay, let's start the show. Uh, Hello and welcome to the RoboTalk show, bhai.
Thank you, Aditya. Thanks very much.
So hope you're doing well, Ram.
Yeah, I'm doing good and good to be here. Very first time I'm being part of such a podcast setup, so nice experience for me as well.
Yeah. It's good to be open to everything.
Right, definitely. And it was in my plan to kind of get this kind of an exposure once, and good that you presented with this opportunity, and
Right, right,
looking
right,
forward to this.
right. So let's tell the audience how we met. Uh,
Right. I think it would be best if you explain that.
all right. So I was. It's my term. I call it fishing. So when I search for guests on LinkedIn, I call it fishing. So I was fishing for new guests on LinkedIn, and and I got your profile. I saw your profile. I was really so fascinated by it. The experiences you have had in the past. So I wanted, yeah, no, I want this man on my podcast. And then I
Okay,
messaged you.
well, that's a little flattering to hear, and good that you see I'm popping up on these things. That's not a very long experience. I'm still quite young, you see, 23, 24. So still a lot to learn and get out of the basically this drone industry or as such even on robotics. It's a very young industry at this point. So if you're part of it at such a young age, it is really exciting to kind of see and see. But yeah, very little experience of mine. Nothing very out of the nothing extraordinary at this stage.
Okay, so tell me, how did you get in this field? What was the brainchild of the idea that you want to go into this field? What was that initial experience?
Things started pretty much at IIT Bombay itself. So at IIT Bombay, you have this culture of getting to explore a lot of different and new ideas that are not necessarily when you are exposed to in your like class 10th, class 12th, or even during job when you like get into the standard run of the mill jobs. So don't get to explore these kind of things. So I was fortunate to kind of get an brief exposure to all of this robotics, drones at campus, and I used to participate in a competition called the International Aerial Robotics Challenge. So we had a student team which used to do this,
Okay.
and I did that for around 2.5 years, and that is how I was completely hooked onto it. Right, I had decided then and there that if not, so we could not actually go abroad and kind of participate in this challenge in person. It
Right, right.
all kind of clashed with COVID later, and like some other issues came up during my first and second year. But essentially, that was where it was. I was hooked on that. I want to do something in drones to kind of just make sure that I am leaving a mark in this industry.
Right,
And
right.
it was after there that I kind of found Flytbase, and I've been working with
Yeah.
them since. It's been almost an year and a half now. So yeah,
Okay.
that's how it
That's
is.
good. So what did fascinate you the most in the drone technology industry?
I think not specifically drones, but essentially any and all autonomous systems. Or when you talk about how you see, you have different engineering disciplines that come together. You have computer science, you have electronics, you have mechanical, and product design. All of this, when they come together, and that is essentially what you call robotics.
Right.
And that coming together to kind of show the immediate impact that it can have on any problem that is being faced right now live in the society is something that is amazing. And if you are able to kind of develop something in that, you are touching so many lives across, you see, across countries throughout the world. You would be impacting millions of people with any small change that you are able to bring. So that is what I feel is the best about this industry, that you are able to bring out immediate change.
Right. Right.
And
That's
I
true.
think that is what fuels me every day, that we are able to kind of do this and build on products that are like in use across the world. So yeah.
That's true. So, I'm very interested in robotics personally, and
Right.
I really want to enter this field in future for sure.
Okay.
So, what would your advice to be? What's your initial advice? What should be done if you want to make a to-do list for me? What would it be?
Well, if you want to have a to-do list, there is essentially one point. There isn't too much in that to-do list. So I won't be talking about, you see, which colleges or what courses or what you should be doing to make your CV better. Or you see, that is all standard stuff. It's out there. Everybody knows
Hmm.
about it. But the one thing which I have seen over past, I think 1.5 year at in my job and couple of years in college, is that to actually have excel in this field, you need to be a good problem solver.
Hmm.
If you are attracted to problems and you love to solve problems, irrespective
Problems.
of what field, what you have a background in it or not, whether that is my major, minor, or whatever. So
Right.
if that is one checkbox that you have ticked in your to-do list, that I like to solve problems, then
Problems.
you are cut out for this field. Then you see, any amount of other extracurricular activities or courses or that is not required.
Not good.
So it's just how you get that attitude is how you need to focus on, I think.
All right. I've already made the to-do list. That's good then.
That should be good.
Okay, so how's life at Flytbase?
And life at Flytbase is, it is as you might expect in any standard startup.
Yeah.
So Flytbase is essentially, you see, we are in the startup phase. So we are a small team around 35, 40 people. So it
Right.
is pretty hectic. But it is challenging at the same time. You see, you are pushed beyond what essentially any engineer would dream of that I would be doing. So if
Hmm.
you come out as an engineer, you don't really expect, okay, would I get to do product design? Or
Hmm.
what is product design in the first sense?
In the first.
So, or what is business? These are things which engineers essentially feel that, okay, not my cup of tea, or I'm not cut
Not.
out for this. But
Hmm.
a startup will propel you in all of those directions. And that is something that is really amazing at Flytbase from a career standpoint. They just anything that you are interested in, you can contribute in. There is opportunity in, and that I feel is true for a lot of startups.
Hmm.
So that kind of an environment gives you. Plus, you see, there is a lot of flexibility of work. You are able to choose what you want to do, work on that, and it's really more of a kind of a college team atmosphere here. So I kind of resonate with that, since that has been part my initiation. So yeah.
Right. 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 So a lot of building is going on the NESTGEN. You have like there is a new event called NESTGEN. Flytbase is
Right.
organizing it.
Yes.
So what's
Uh,
that about?
right. So NestGen. So what essentially we saw was that while there are a lot of conferences that go about with drones and drone hardwares, there isn't any talk going around drone autonomy as such.
Okay.
So when you talk about drone autonomy, it's a level higher than just using drones, right? Nowadays, you have a lot of applications where people are using drones with pilots for various commercial applications. I
Hmm.
think a couple of weeks ago, our prime minister himself said if we could start using drones in mines for inspection and certain things, right? So,
Right.
but
Right. Right.
still, we are on the stage where we are using it with pilots. You need to have a pilot to go there, perform the inspection once, then probably he'll go the next month, right? It
Right.
wouldn't scale to send him every day. So
True.
we are at that stage in the industry, and the area where NestGen is primarily focused on is drone autonomy. So how do you kind of automate this repeated behavior? And
Okay.
you can have autonomous large scale deployments of drones with docking stations and them performing various commercial applications.
All
So
right. So, what's the commercial application you are targeting? Like, what are the different commercial applications you are targeting for?
So there isn't any specific target for commercial applications. You see, once you have a basic platform ready for drone autonomy as
Hmm.
such, you can have. So drones are essentially your vehicles in the sky, right?
True.
So when we talk about drones, we talk about aerial vehicles.
Yeah.
And so these drones now come with different sort of payloads. You can have cameras, speakers. Some I've seen videos of people putting water hoses with drones for firefighting.
Oh, okay.
So this
Okay.
kind of so when you have such kind of large scale applications for drones, once you are able to automate the basics, they can quickly scale to any and all application.
I see.
So this is a very so NestGen essentially would be a conference where we have a lot of players in the drone autonomy field who are kind of building docking stations for drones, who are building various payloads for these drones,
Right.
and people who are making a lot of software for drone autonomy, all of them coming together, you see, talking about what they are doing, how they see this industry growing. So it would be a pretty
All right.
interesting conference on this uh, a
Right. Right.
little bit of a difference than your general drone conferences where you mostly have talk on kind of hardware and manual operation centric. So this is more of an autonomous operation centric conference here.
That's true. Okay. 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 So, I was recently reading that there have been some drone laws which have been passed by the like by the government.
Could you repeat that? I did not get you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Now, are you able to hear me?
Yes, this is better. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. There have been some drone laws which have been devised by the government
Yes.
after the drone attack by Pakistan.
Yeah, that has come out as a response. So,
Yeah.
but I feel there are drone laws in India. There are drone laws abroad as well. Every country has
Right.
them,
Yeah.
and essentially in India specifically, these drone laws are coming out of a fear regarding where you fear the safety that drones will pose to any other people or civilians around, right? So when you have drones
Yeah.
flying, there is an inherent safety risk that comes with it.
Risk. True.
And that is where the current drone laws are focused on. So you can't fly in specific regions, you can't
Regions.
fly above heights, and like just a few just out of that, there is a huge sheet of these drone laws.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
I do feel that you
Uh.
see, once you have people kind of demonstrating how you can safely use these drones
Hmm.
more in manual as well as autonomously,
Hmm.
a lot of these laws won't really exist, and
Won't
you
it?
would have a pretty open economy of you see drones around.
True. True.
And this has happened. So some countries have started to kind of ease out on these drone laws.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
and in India, we are still a little behind in this,
True.
but it should be there in the next. I think 3 to 4 years down the line.
Nonetheless.
Yeah.
But when you see all those videos, it looks really good. But in a practical scenario, you don't think like now it should be possible that you are seeing drones flying around. It's directly from a sci-fi movie. Star Wars is home now.
Uh,
So
yes. So
it will
this
take a
is
long time for that.
it won't take that long. You see, because if you look at how recently technology has developed, right? So you
Yeah.
look at 10 years ago and you think about mobile phones. Or
Hmm.
you just look at 2015, and if you look at what mobile phones existed,
Yeah.
Samsung did not have such a huge flagship, right? Or you did not have Apple making phones. I
True.
think all you had was a Nokia and a BlackBerry that used to come up,
Yeah.
and they are no longer seen on the scene, right? Now you have all of these smartphones. Most of these smartphones have come up in the last 2 to 3 years,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and almost penetrated every person, every household.
Yeah.
You go you. I'm yet to find a person without a smartphone. You see, so and you see, we can have that kind of search, and it would be pretty tough. Computers, for example. So once Intel was able to break through with chip design, personal computers are now everybody has one. And
That's
this was
true.
not true 10 years before. Early 2000s, personal computers used to either have offices, or people having computers at home was not considered normal.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So this we are in an age where technology is going to move very rapidly. It is
Right.
We are not in an age where it is going to take 100 years for something to change. So this change
True.
is going to come every 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident that in the next 10 years you would have drones outside your window, definitely.
I wish the same. I wish for the same.
No, no, it is something that I truly believe in. That next 10 years down the line, you won't have someone from Zomato come deliver your food. It's going to be on the drone outside your windows. And
They will knock out of the window just.
you might have a knocker on the drone as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so it was 2012 when TED Talks had was a big thing in India.
Yeah.
I was then there was a video on drones which really fascinated me. Which was this thing?
This last demonstration is an exploration of synthetic swarms. The large number of autonomous, coordinated entities offers a new palette for aesthetic expression. We've taken commercially available micro-quadcopters, each weighing less than a slice of bread, by the way, and outfitted them with our localization technology and custom algorithms. Because
So yeah, what is localization technology?
So localization technology, when you say, it is essentially how you know what your current location is, right? So, as a human, we have our five senses. We perceive through touch, vision, smell, sound, and with through that, we are able to see our surroundings, and we are able to tell,
Yeah,
okay, I'm in this room right now. I need to go out. When I go out, there is this to my left, this to my right, and you are able to kind of navigate through the world.
true.
For drones, it is about giving them this ability. See, if you want
Okay.
drones to kind of perform swarm operations or any kind of autonomous operations, they need to have certain very basic capabilities. And one of them is the ability to know my position in the world.
Hmm.
So the drone should be able to know, okay, this is my XYZ where I am right now. This is the XYZ I need to go to.
Hmm.
So that is one kind of localization.
Okay.
So this is how, like, essentially when you start Google Maps, or when you wake up, okay, now I need to go to, let's say, some city or some supermarket. So that
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
so that kind of thing is pretty common with us, or we feel that that is something that is not really that we appreciate, right? That it is something
Yeah,
that we feel it's there, it's
it's
common,
there.
but
Right.
it is not true for the machine or the drone. So that is when it talks of
Uh,
localization technology. Or And now GPS has essentially solved this problem, but it still exists in kind of indoor environments or certain environments that I think he would talk about later in the video,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where
Yes.
kind of innovative solutions are required, since you see
Hmm.
GPS is not present everywhere.
Yeah,
There are a
yeah.
lot of indoor spaces, indoor structures where
in
fetching a GPS
space
signal
and is
would be tough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
Right?
Okay.
controlled, there is really no limit to their number.
That's good.
The audience gets crazy when they see these things.
Right. So this is essentially what is swarm. So when he talks about this, he talks about uh, what he's kind of demonstrating here is a very uh, basic example of what swarm can do.
Okay, okay.
Right.
So like each drone acts like uh now. So like how is it done? Like how does the look how does the drone know its location? Like where is it origin? Like from one origin they can find the distances. So like how is it so? Like there is one drone which acts like an origin, and then with respect to that drone,
So
no.
you can have different kinds of origins. You see, you can have static origins, you can have dynamic origins. So something like GPS will give you a global truth, right?
True. Yeah.
And in your local systems, you can have a static origin.
Okay. Okay.
In drone swarms essentially don't really kind of mix very well with localization per se.
Okay.
So drone swarms are a higher level of autonomy than when we talk about basic capabilities for drones. So a drone swarm is like if you would have seen how ants behave in a colony. An
Hmm.
individual ant is self-sufficient to perform its job.
Yeah.
But when the task is bigger,
Hmm.
you require them to work in a coordinated fashion.
Yeah.
And that is what is the literal meaning of a swarm. When you have these
Huh.
multiple agents coming together in a coordinated fashion to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when those agents are drones, it's a drone swarm.
Known some. True.
Right. So that is also many a times you must have seen these videos where they do these drone shows and make these beautiful
Hmm.
3D kind of art in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All of that is an example of drone swarm. So a
Yeah.
single drone is not able to make that art on his own,
Not
but
at
you
all.
get 100 of them in a coordinated fashion. They are able to make those structures.
True. True. So what is the communication network like? Like
So
how do they communicate?
there are different communication networks. I think most in practice at this point is the Mavlink protocol between drones and the ground station. So
Okay.
essentially, in these systems, you would have some kind of a ground station which is kind of coordinating between these different drones,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
each drone kind of talks to them over Mavlink. So Mavlink
Okay.
is the standard protocol I think people are using with Pixhawk, Arduino, these kind of
Right.
Pixhawk and Ardocopter.
Huh.
So
Hydrocopter.
these
Yeah. 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 I've
autopilots, they are
heard of those.
yeah, they are kind of using Mavlink. DJI has come up with its own protocol
Okay.
for communicating between the drone and the ground station. So yeah, people are experimenting and kind of working on this technology as well as to what kind of a protocol can communicate between this drone and the ground station at ultra low latency.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
see, should be able to and also be able to like control all of these different payloads, cameras. So as and when now, as people are you see expanding on different commercial use cases, now people would like to want a thermal camera on the drone. I
Hmm.
want to have some kind of an IR sensor array or something like that. Now all of this has to be able to be efficiently and quickly controlled over this protocol and network, right? Which is
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
drone and ground station. So there
True.
are a
True.
few in place, and lot of research is going on as to how this can be made better.
Okay. Okay. So when in 2021 early months, we had talked about this just some 5 to 6 minutes back, that Pakistan had attacked India through a drone. That there was a huge havoc all throughout all news channels. And one question that fascinated me was like, why is it so difficult to put down a drone or even detect a drone that it's there?
So essentially, it's not difficult to kind of detect a drone or even put a drone down, it all depends on the kind of drone that you're dealing with. So you
Okay.
see, when we use drone, and I think that was one of the reasons why there was such a big, massive news coverage of this, was when you start using the word drone for such things. Because drone is something that you are generally in the military aspect associate with. You see an American stealth drone flying somewhere and would just come out of nowhere,
No man.
right? Pakistan essentially came up with a quadcopter,
Yeah.
and that is very different from an American stealth drone.
No.
As much as I can I can like recall vaguely of
Vehicle.
of that event.
Yeah.
It was some kind of a multicopter that was there, which I feel kind of crossed the border.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So those kind of, you see, when you look at multicopter systems and all, which are like quadcopters or hexcopters, they are not difficult to kind of detect or even put down. And that is
Other than
primarily,
eyesight, what else is there? Like, if you
uh,
can see there's a drone, it's a drone. But other than that, on
you
the
could have
radar,
multiple
will it
things. You see,
be?
most of these drones would be communicating over some kind of frequency channel to the ground station, right? So these are not
Okay.
autonomous. Simple signal jammer should solve your problem essentially.
Okay. Oh, that's true. That's a good one.
So
Okay.
drones come in. So when you talk about like stopping drones, if we had to talk about things like stealth drones or essentially unmanned aircraft which would fly over, that is a challenging problem, definitely.
Okay.
But when you look at quadcopters, I don't think that should be much of a challenge.
Okay. All right. All right.
But
All right.
definitely, people are making a lot of progress with quadcopters as well. There
Yeah.
is research going on into silent quadcopters, and then a lot of, like we saw in the video, miniaturized drones, right?
Miniaturized drones.
So miniaturized drones would pose another challenge.
Yeah.
But
Um.
yes, essentially, so drone industry would come in multiple areas, right? There is military aspect which is there. So most of these drones being used in defense.
Mhm.
That is one industry which has been going on for quite a while now. So,
Hmm. 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 Yeah.
and while there is not much open knowledge about it, but I'm pretty sure there are multiple countries which are kind of performing research and production and development into all of this. Then
Right.
one of the other areas would be, you see, you have drones being used by hobbyists. So you have people who fly
Hmm.
these drones, who have these drone races, drone shows.
Hmm.
All
Yeah.
of that is where you have drones being used by hobbyists, but that is more where you have a pilot controlling all of this setup, right? And
Yeah.
it's a once in a while event that would happen, and then that's it. You
That's
don't
it.
essentially generate a lot of commercial value out of these events.
True. True. True.
While it is true, businesses do generate marketing value and all of that, it is not a lot of recurring commercial value that you would generate out of these events. And then the third industry that has really a lot of potential and that is coming up is the commercial drone industry,
Hmm.
where you would have drones being used for large scale commercial applications. You see, like drones for mines inspections, drones for any asset monitoring, drones for security, drones
Yeah.
for firefighting. So
True.
these are all your commercial drone applications, and that is where you see drones can, I feel, create the maximum impact.
Hmm.
Drones in
Okay.
defense
Okay.
definitely will, and that will,
Yeah.
but I feel that will more or less remain a closed industry for a while.
For a while. Okay. Okay. All right.
Right?
There was one more thing.
So, I have a background in technology and magic. And magicians are interesting. Their illusions accomplish what technology cannot. But what happens when the technology of the day seems almost magical. What happens when you can do this?
So, do you think this is gesture control? I don't think so.
It might be gesture controlled. I don't think without actually looking at the drone or its sensors, we can have a say at anything, but it seems to be gesture controlled. Or it just
Okay,
might be programmed. You see, it might also be
yeah,
pre-programmed to do this.
yeah. It feels a lot that it's like pre-programmed and they're doing this thing. In some of the motions, like you can see that there is a lag between this, like it's
Now,
moving up,
100
but he
years
has not done
ago,
it yet.
that would have been the magic of levitation.
Well,
Is
yeah,
it possible to?
Yeah,
so it could be gesture controlled. It could also be triggers based on proximity or something. You see, whenever he gets his hand closer, it tries to do something.
oh,
Could
okay,
be based on
all right,
proximity as well, or
proximity as well.
it could just be programmed to do those routines either way. And you have the magician kind of just give the command before.
Just give the command before. Yeah, yeah.
So it can be multiple things, but the cool thing to take away out of it is that drones are now coming in different sizes. You have drones being able to perform such stable behavior at such a small size is amazing. You see,
Yeah, that's
truly
true.
expands their potential.
Yeah. That's true. Okay. Okay. So, what are your some tips to students who are interested in this field and they are just learning now? Like, what are the things they should learn first?
You should be interested in basic engineering. So if kind of you have your basic interests inclined towards mathematics, physics, all
Yeah.
of this is essentially core mathematics and physics inside.
Okay.
So that then in basic career into your uh, engineering applications and systems, and from there you see it's such a nascent industry that uh, it's up to you and your vision. You see how you kind of wish you would like to contribute, and there is always scope here.
Yeah.
So a lot of very matured industries are places you see where you don't get a lot of scope for innovation,
Hmm.
or a lot of these low hanging fruits in that industry have been picked out. So you would need to go really deep into the tree to find something. But drone industry as such now is a very young industry. So there are
Yeah.
lot of seemingly low hanging fruits there to pick out to work towards. So yeah, I don't think there is anything special that you need to do to get into this industry. It is just your interest that would get you in
Yeah.
here.
That would get it. All right. All right. Okay. There was something called drone in a box, I guess. It's am I right?
Right,
It's then
right.
yeah. So what is that about?
So drone in a box is what we at Flytbase feel is the very first step of drone autonomy. See,
Okay.
because anything is autonomous only when it is able to at least be in the field day in day out. So nowadays, or essentially, if you look at any drone, even in the future, it would have a lifespan, right?
Yeah.
So nowadays, you have these DJI drones which come with a flight time of around 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I think they are coming
Yeah.
up with a new drone which would take that up to around 35 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But there is an upper cap after which you need to have someone there to change the battery once in a while. You see, service the motors, change the propellers,
True.
all
True.
of this. Some drones require charging, so once they come, they are back on the ground. You would need to plug them in or something of that sort.
Yeah.
So all of these are very specific manual operations that need to be done to keep the drone in the field.
Yeah.
And the box essentially is an entire mechatronic system that is able to do this for you.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
it's like a
it will
house
be
for
able
your
to
drone.
charge it and yeah, got it.
It's like a house
Got
for
it.
your drone. So a drone can stay in there. You won't need to worry about rain or snow or some harsh weather coming out, wind, for example. You
Yeah,
won't
yeah.
need to worry about charging the different
Charging.
batteries, or is my drone currently with a fresh battery or not? Is my drone
Okay.
completely charged? So a box essentially would perform all of these operations. So that
Oh,
means that you can have your drone in the field 24/7,
anytime you
three
want.
sixty five directly.
Yeah,
And
okay.
when you combine that with all of the remote access and the possibilities to control your drone remotely, kind of
Hmm.
just brings out very, it essentially in itself becomes a very powerful solution.
That's true.
You
That's true.
know, so it will bring out a scenario where, let's say, I from my home could be able to control like a drone sitting in a box, let's say in America somewhere.
Hmm. That's true. Okay. So I want to talk more about swarms, drone swarms.
Okay.
So like you told that it communicates with a ground station.
Yes.
So what is that network like? It's infrared? Is it ultrasound? Is it like 4G LTE? Like what is it?
So it can be different things. You see, so at Flytbase we work with 4G LTE connections, or basically through the internet. So you
Okay.
can have drones communicating either with each other or through a ground station through the internet as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, Most of the remote control that is over radio frequency, that's your specific, your drone RC combinations, right? So
Yeah,
that would be
yeah,
over radio frequency, that 2.4 gigs or 5 gigs.
yeah.
You can, there are systems that people have developed which is over IR as well.
Okay.
However, IR becomes a little limited. You see, it's much better to use radio frequency in that.
Radio frequencies. True.
Right. So it's radio frequencies run over the internet as well. But there are options to be explored definitely. You can have any medium, whatever
Anyway.
suits the application best. Yeah.
Like, do you take care of the latency part? Like, there would be some latency between like you sending the link and it receiving it.
Is this over internet?
4G, yeah, 4G. I was talking about 4G LTE.
Right. So for that is where you see intelligent system design comes into the picture. You see, to
Okay.
get a job done, you might get it done by sending out some bytes of data, some kilobytes of data, or probably some megabytes of data. So
Yeah.
that is where that factor of system design comes into play, where how can you do it, or how can you design the system such that you see with minimal data transfer and minimal hops you are able to get the drone to do the job,
Oh, okay. Okay.
right?
All
So
right.
it would go a bit too technical, but essentially the key is that is it as it all comes down to system design and right.
All right. All right. All right. So I guess it's the end. Like we have come to the end.
Okay.
So, so what's your message to me at the end of the podcast? How did you feel? How did it
uh,
go?
Went really well. I was a bit nervous at the start, but went really well. Had a really kind of fun, casual conversation with you and really liked it. I was so got to see a bit of basically TED Talks as well during this, which I was not personally expecting. But I feel overall what you are doing here is a really nice initiative, you see, because there are a lot of engineering students which I meet almost one. I've met them once or twice. We are continuously in touch, and people have these very general questions regarding these new fields.
Yeah.
So when people look at computer science, electrical, you see there is bunch of information available.
Yeah.
But when you start to talk about drones, you start to talk about robotics, and there is hardly anything that you can find.
That's true.
So
That's true.
while we are able to talk about this, it is good that it is also adding a little bit more information out there for others also to kind of have
Yeah.
some initiation.
That's true.
And really love the initiative that you have taken with the podcast and the talk show, right?
Yeah. That was the whole motive of the talk show. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Aditya.
I will
And
do part two of this. It was lovely talking to you. I will get some more questions and some more people probably if the channel grows. Then we can do
right, we'll
part two of
definitely
this
do a
podcast.
part two sometime. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, Aditya. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.